My 13-year-old nephew met my wife for the first time and said, "I've seen you before." She froze, and what happened next left me shaken. What unfolded after that moment changed everything I thought I knew. Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm a 30-year-old man who's been through a lot recently. Even though some time has passed, it still feels like everything happened just yesterday. I wanted to talk about it with someone other than my family and friends, so here I am. Let me start from the beginning. I was born much later than my brother. He was 16 years old when I was born. Because of the big age gap, we never had a close brotherly bond, although he did spoil me a lot. It felt like he treated me more like his own child than his brother. By the time I was old enough to remember anything, my brother was already off to college. When I was 10 years old, I attended his wedding. He was already expecting at the time, so I was excited not just for the wedding, but also to meet my nephew and have another kid to play with. 5 months after the wedding, my nephew, Tony, was born. I still clearly remember visiting him in the hospital right after he was born. I was so excited to see his little face and felt an overwhelming amount of love for him. After Tony came home, I spent as much time as possible with my brother to help take care of him. As the years went by, my love for Tony only grew. I would always offer to babysit whenever my brother needed help. Instead of thinking of each other as uncle and nephew, Tony and I felt more like siblings. That's why it was so hard for both of us when I had to move to a different state, Florida, to study and work. But I made sure to always call home and stay in touch with my family, especially Tony. The distance didn't break our bond. In my last year of university, I met my wife, Callie. She was a star soccer player, and I still don't know how I caught her attention. Since I wasn't into sports at all, I spent most of my time reading in the library. But one day, Callie found me there and started talking to me. What I loved most about her was how confident and charming she was. Later, after we were together for a while, she told me she was actually nervous to talk to me, but I never would have guessed that from how confidently she approached me. We went on several dates and quickly realized that even though we had different interests, we fit well together. We shared the same sense of humor and spent all our dates laughing until our bellies hurt. It didn't take long for us to make our relationship official. I always made it clear to Callie how much I loved my family, so she met them through many video calls. The only person I didn't tell about Callie was my nephew, Tony. Even though Callie had met almost everyone important in my family, she hadn't met Tony yet. I did talk to her about him a lot, though. One day, Callie asked why she hadn't met my nephew even though I talked about him so much. I told her, "Babe, I haven't introduced you to Tony because he's just 11. I want to protect his innocence from my adult life." She replied, "I don't think 11 is too young. I'd like to meet him and be part of his life too. Tony is the most important person to me, but he's still a child. He doesn't need to be involved in my romantic life," I explained. "It feels like you're keeping me separate because you doubt our relationship's future," she said. "What? That's not true at all," I assured her. "You were afraid of introducing me to Tony in case things don't work out between us. You don't want to introduce him to someone who won't be a constant in his life," she continued. "You've got it all wrong. It's about protecting him, not doubting us," I said. "All right. Fine. Let's drop it. Just understand that I see a long future for us," she said. "But I'm just not ready to mix our worlds yet," I explained. I understood why Callie was upset, but I wasn't ready to involve Tony in this part of my life. I wanted to protect Tony's innocence even though deep down I knew I wasn't really doing that. In my mind, he was still that little baby I first met in the hospital, and I wanted to keep seeing him that way, at least until he became a teenager. 2 years after we graduated from college, Callie asked me to move in with her, and I happily agreed. I was thrilled to live with a woman I was so deeply in love with. During this time, I also met all of Callie's family. Callie was still a little hurt that I hadn't told Tony about her yet, but she chose to let it go instead of bringing it up. I could tell she was still bothered by it because she would briefly mention it before dropping the subject. When Tony turned 13, I waited a couple of months before finally telling him about Callie. We got on a video call one day while Callie was out for a run. "Tony, I have something to share with you," I said. "What's up?" he replied. "I have a girlfriend." "Really? Oh my gosh. Tell me everything," he exclaimed. "Her name is Callie. We met in college and have been together since my senior year." "Is she a good person?" he asked. "She's the best. You'll love her," I assured him. "I can't wait to meet her then." "Well, actually, we were planning to come for Thanksgiving." "Wait. Seriously? I've got bad timing." "What do you mean?" I asked, confused. "I got into that boarding high school I've been raving about for ages. I need to be there next month." "That's amazing, Tony. I'm so proud of you." "Yeah. But I won't be around for Thanksgiving." "Don't worry about it. I'm planning on marrying Callie anyway, so you'll have plenty of time to meet her." "You are already planning weddings, I love it," he said with a laugh.